How's it going, Rogues Gallery, and welcome to another Gundam card game video here on Red Zone Rogue. Today we're going to be discussing the very first Gundam card game set, New Type Rising, and giving you my, I guess you can call this my formal review of this set. Just how good is the first Gundam card game set in terms of, well, flavor, in terms of playability, and setting up the game for future success. Now, before we get started, I want to give a little bit of a backstory for myself and my involvement with both the Gundam card game and in terms of TCGs just in general. I've been playing trading card games since 1995, starting with old Magic the Gathering. I played Magic, I don't want to say semi-professionally, but I did play in some pretty high-level events. I had pro points. I played competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! And since then, I have played almost every TCG under the sun. And this is not one of those things where someone says, oh, I play every TCG. And what they mean is they play Magic, One Piece, and I don't know, one other. No, I currently actively play at least 3, and have maybe like 4 or 5 other side games. And then I've also just played every single trading card game currently on the market with maybe like 1 or 2 exceptions, but I've literally played like everything else. I have a whole tier list going over 30 trading card games that are currently on the market. And I've also done professional shoutcasting at Pro Tour level events for 3 different trading card games, and I've shoutcasted the World Championship for 2 different trading card games. I just want to kind of set up for, this discussion, and maybe if you're not a longtime viewer of the channel, I mean, why do I want to even talk about this kind of stuff? Well, I love trading card games. They're a huge part of my life, and at least I like to think I'm a little bit involved with them. This is all to say that I'm not like a casual fan of trading card games. They're quite literally my life and my livelihood. In regards to the Gundam card game specifically, I was invited to the world premiere event. That's where I got this snazzy Gundam card game jacket that I'm currently wearing. We have the invitation sitting over here, and I've been playing the Gundam card game for well over a year now because of that, starting with the world premiere event and then playing with the beta kit and just kind of iterating on that, and then waiting for the new starter decks to come out, as well as Booster Set 1, New Type Rising. And today's discussion, once again, is going to center around New Type Rising and the first 4 starter decks as well, because they're kind of a package deal. You really can't play one without the other. Well, you can play the starter decks by themselves, but to get the full experience, you need the starter decks and the booster box, which is very important. The starter decks actually have integral cards to the Gundam card game meta, at least currently. Every single starter deck has some really, really nice stuff in it, and you will want those cards for the Gundam card game, both competitively and casually, if you want to do some casual, like just for fun, flavorful, type stuff. Now, there's one giant elephant in the room that I'm not going to talk about in this video because it doesn't really factor into the discussion, and that is, of course, the issues and the ongoing, at least currently, issues of availability, both in terms of the booster set and in terms of the starter decks, as well as even, the latest starter deck, the Iron Bloom starter deck, being pretty difficult to get. Now, this is something that I've talked about before here on the channel. It's something that I know about, you know about, Bandai knows about. They've formally acknowledged it at least a couple times, so we're not going to factor that really into this. We want to talk about the design of the set. We're not going to talk about any production issues. Now, overall, we're like a couple minutes in the video. Overall, if you just want my overall takes on the Gundam card game and the first set, New Type Rising, and the first 4 starter decks, I mean, obviously, I really love the Gundam card game. I grew up watching Gundam. I'm a huge Gundam franchise fan. I have not made that a secret at all in any of these videos. I build Gunpla regularly. At least I've gotten back into the last couple of years building Gunpla, having done so also as a kid. And essentially, the TLDR is I really love the Gundam card game, and I think this first set is actually very good. And I'm going to talk about why I think it's very good, not just in terms of, hey, I like Gundam, here's some Gundam stuff, but in terms of like actual game design, and there's some flavor stuff too. Now, I also want to talk about like competitive viability and competitive, what's the right word, versatility, competitive, I don't know, there's a lot of options in the competitive environment right now, and I think the Gundam card game did a really, really good job of that right out of the gate. So that's the first thing I want to talk about. Deck viability. And right out of the gates, with set 1 and the 4 starter decks, we see a meta that has comfortably 4 to 6, maybe even 7 competitive decks that are like 100% viable, that you could play and feel good about playing at your local scene. Now, not all of them are the same power level, but I think there's enough where you can pick something that you enjoy. Do you like, you know, UC Timeline, Gundam, Amuro Ray, you know, Char Aznable? Yo, there are multiple decks where you can play these characters and have a good time. There's even one particular deck that you play all of them. You know, it's called the 1 Year War aggro deck. It's a blue-green aggro deck, one of the best in the game right now. And there you go. You got all your favorite characters, or a lot of your favorite characters, from the UC Timeline. If you like Gundam Seed, well, there's some decks for that. In fact, both Kiriyamato and the Ailstrike Gundam see a ton of play across a myriad of decks. Then we have the Wing Zero deck, which is very, very Gundam Wing focused. I do like some Gundam Wing, and we have stuff like the Death Scythe, Hiro Yui. We have Duo Maxwell, and obviously the Wing Gundam. So like what I'm getting at here is like there's a lot of competitive viability in the Gundam card game right now, and for a first set, I think that is incredibly strong. It's a very, very good showing for the Gundam card game to come out of the gates with not just like 1, 2, or 3 good, you know, viable decks. I would argue there's up like 4, 5, 6, right? There might be a little bit of overlap, but I think there's enough where it's just great. My current personal favorite deck is a blue-red, mid-rangey, direct damage. People call it ping style deck. I also built a like almost mono white. It's a white-red control command deck where you leverage the Gundam aerial rebuild to get back some command cards in the late game to get like this extra value. And the overall point I'm trying to make is there's a lot of options just with one set and with a pretty small card pool, and I think that is a great sign for the future of the game. Another thing I want to mention is that ties into that I've kind of mentioned before is archetype differentiation and archetype viability. So we have aggro decks that are very, very strong. This is something that happens in a lot of new trading card games, or at least new metas for trading card games as well, is that initially you see a lot of powerful aggro decks, right? Because those are kind of the easiest to build and the easiest to brew. You put all your aggressive, low-costed things, and you just kind of go to town and see if it works. Usually it does work quite well. You also have your control decks, right? Your decks that try to aim to control the board, aim to control your opponent's hand, and, you know, more importantly, control the flow of the game. And we have these also in the Gundam card game. And then you also have mid-range decks. Like I said, my personal favorite deck is a blue-red mid-range deck. Uses some absolutely awesome cards. And, yeah, I think that's just great to see, like, these 3 core archetypes for trading card games just having an obvious and actual relevant presence in the very first set at a competitive level. So that's also absolutely fantastic. Now let's shift gears a little. We talked about the competitive side of things. We talked about multiple decks, you know, viability. I think that's all fantastic. That's probably the thing that matters the most. But let's talk about some other stuff that I think matters a lot, especially to like fans of the franchise, and that is just flavor. Now, I don't want to go over all of them. I'm going to highlight one particular thing that they just nailed it so good. And I think this is true there's a bunch of cards that they nail it. Not so much so for like the vanilla cards, but there's some really, really good ones. So I want to talk about how they nailed the flavor of the Kshatriya. This is the LR Kshatriya, and this card, oh, it's so good. Chef's kiss. So this card in the Gundam series, you can't really, without going into a bunch of Gundam jargon, if you don't know all the Gundam jargon, you can't pilot this mobile suit to its full potential unless you have new type capabilities, or cyber new type capabilities, which are basically like artificially created new types. And what a new type is I kind of call them space wizards. It's kind of, think about like Jedi, right? that's more of a universal thing. They're kind of like Jedi, except they can't like do force pushes, but they can still kind of like connect telepathically. They have like uncanny senses and all of this kind of stuff, and they have like just things that they can do that no one else can do. And so going to the Kshatriya, the fact that you get its effect when you pair with a new type or a cyber new type makes so much sense, because the Kshatriya uses these little, I'm just going to call them drones, or you can call them like a bit or a funnel, but the Kshatriya uses these little, you can call them drones that go around and they'll shoot lasers, right? And the pilot can kind of control them from the Kshatriya. But only new types can really do this kind of thing. So the flavor there is that the new type is piloting the Kshatriya, and then they're able to use their funnels or their drones and deal damage, and that's why they also deal damage. It's just so much flavor in it. It's absolutely fantastic. And it's just stuff like that that a lot of people wouldn't notice, but I notice, and I'm like, oh, of course the Kshatriya, you don't get its full effects unless you're a new type or a cyber new type. And of course it deals direct damage because you have the funnels dealing the damage, literally on the card art. And so like, I think the Gundam card game, both from a playable standpoint, at least the first set, New Type Rising, from a playability standpoint, very, very high. Multiple competitive decks. I find most of them to be incredibly fun to pilot, incredibly fun to play. But then you also have the Gundam side of things, the lore, the flavor. Also, I think they nailed it. I think they did a fantastic job. And they made pilots who are canonically very strong in the Gundam series, very strong in the Gundam card game. Pilots like Kira Yamato, who's overpowered. Pilots like Amuro Ray and Char Aznavour, and even Merida Cruz. These are pilots who are very strong in the respective Gundam series, and hey, they made them really good in the Gundam card game as well. Makes a lot of sense, right? So flavor, very good. Gameplay, very good. And there's one last thing that I want to talk about that I also think they did a home run, and that is the product itself. Now, not in terms of like availability or price, but I'm just going to talk about like product composition. And I think they absolutely nailed it with the Gundam card game. I think New Type Rising is one of the most fun booster boxes from a base set that I have ever opened in any trading card game. It is so much fun. They packed so much cool stuff in this that every pack feels like something, you know, exciting, right? You have your LRs and you get about like 8 per box, and these are 24 pack booster boxes. You also get 2 alternate arts on top of those 8 LRs. You also get a textured foil resource on top of that, and that just makes so much value, so much fun. Not value in terms of like monetary value, but value in terms of like intrinsic fun value. I find just opening Gundam booster boxes and packs just some of the most fun I've had on the market. And mind you, I've literally played almost every single TCG on the market. I've opened up packs and boxes of almost every single TCG on the market, and I main 3, and I play even more on the sideline. And I think this is one of the best just right out of the gates. It's so much fun. There's a lot of trading card games where you just open up packs and it's just like garbage, 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 garbage. And not in terms of playability garbage, but in terms of like, I don't know, it's just not fun or exciting. This is actually quite fun and exciting to open, and it's not doing a whole collector, you know, booster kind of deal. This is just like the booster, which is fantastic. And that's not even to talk about like the possibility to get a God pack. I have personally not gotten a God pack, but you have the option to get a God pack. And what a God pack is, it is a booster pack that consists of all LRs. So it's just like a big jackpot pack, which is really cool. I have not opened one, but I do know they exist out there. And now maybe you can kind of see why I love this game so much. I think it just hits on all levels. We didn't even talk about the art. The art is also absolutely fantastic. All original art, not any screenshot or screen grab artwork. It's all original artwork from artists. There's some excellent ones here. A lot of artists now I've started following on their social medias because I found them through the Gundam card game, and the art is just so good. Like this is just so good. And yeah, like I said, the Gundam card game hits on all levels for me. I think the gameplay is incredibly fun. I think even out of the gates, there are multiple viable decks that you can play that I think are just you have a lot of options when you're like, okay, what kind of deck do I want to pilot? Well, what kind of deck do you want to play? The booster packs are really, really fun to open. The flavor is also on point. I think the Gundam card game kind of hit it out of the park on the design side of things. I think the first set, New Type Rising, is kind of a slam dunk in terms of a first set for a trading card game. Once again, we're not going to talk about availability. We're not talking about availability issues here. Just talking about the merits of the set from a compositional standpoint. Are there cards in the set that are maybe too strong? Well, maybe, but nothing too egregious right out of the gates. There are some powerful cards, and I think you do need to have powerful cards, right? Not to imbalance the game, but to make it fun. Like, having big, fun effects is just, well, fun, right? Having big splashy effects is just fun, as long as they don't completely break the game. Now, we do have some really powerful cards. Obviously, I've mentioned the Kshatriya before. It is currently my favorite card in the Gundam card game. But you also have stuff like the Wing Zero. You have stuff like the Ailstrike Gundam. You have stuff like even the RX-78-2 Gundam from the starter deck. By the way, Ailstrike and the RX-72 Gundam, both starter deck cards. So once again, going back to the starter decks being actually really, really important. And I didn't talk about the starter decks too much and all of that, but you can kind of imagine that I talked about the starter decks when I was talking about like competitive viability and different options going out there, because I think the starter decks really feature into that. And overall, the starter decks I think are just also very good in terms of like playability, in terms of value that you get from them. Of course, I would like for them to have full play sets. That's just something that I think is great and it's very consumer friendly. But hey, it's something that Bandai just does across all their card games. They usually give you max 2 of certain cards in each starter, so you kind of need to buy 2. But other than that, card quality is fantastic, playability really good for the starter decks, and yeah. I didn't talk about this all that much, and I actually went and grabbed my this is my favorite deck that I mentioned a couple times. I didn't talk about like card quality in terms of like the physical card quality, but I think it's very, very good, and the foiling and the special treatments are also very, very good. I wanted to go ahead and grab one of these just to show you what it looks like in person on camera. So this is the Unicorn Gundam Banshee Destroy mode, and it looks absolutely fantastic. This is just one of the regular LRs, fully textured, super, super good. The card quality is very thick, and it is just very, very nice. A lot of Japanese card games follow similar things of having the card quality very thick and very, very nice. Here's that Kshatriya that we mentioned a little bit before. Absolutely awesome looking. And then of course, let's talk about the plus rarity cards, which are extra spicy. I got lucky enough to pull one of these from a random booster box, and they are fully textured. They just look absolutely fantastic. So I wanted to cap the video off with the, you know, more aesthetic side of things, but I think they did a fantastic job all around. I know I'm glazing this up quite a bit, but you can kind of see why I really love the Gundam card game and why I've been making so much content around it. I think it's genuinely incredibly good, and I just wish it was easier for more folks to get a hold of and to play. I hope that this is something that will be, you know, alleviated in the long run. But for now, I just wanted to evaluate the game based off of gameplay merits and product design and all of that kind of stuff. And, well, I think it's absolutely fantastic. Enough so that, well, it's one of my main games and will be a main game on Red Zone Rogue going forward. Well, it has been now for like a couple months. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the Gundam card game's first set, New Type Rising. I'm not sure if we're going to do something like this for every single set. I really wanted to do it just because it's the start of a brand new game, and I kind of wanted to give you my overall thoughts on it. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. We have tons more Gundam card game content coming here on Red Zone Rogue, including more of our Shuffle Alliance Gundam card game gameplay series. We have deck text, we have our Iron Bloom opening and review. We're gonna have some gameplay with that as well. Lots of great stuff in the back pocket. So hey, if you're new here, welcome. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really actually helps the channel. When I look at the analytics, it'll even be like, more subscribers are watching this video, helping it gain more traction or whatever, which is great. So if you like the stuff, if you want to see more stuff, and if you'd like to see my channel continue to grow, those things are good. Thank you. I appreciate it. So yeah, we're going to leave that here. Thank you all so much for watching. Once again, I very much appreciate you. And yeah, we'll see you next time for some more TCG content and, well, some Gundam card game stuff too. See you later, everyone.